A hush falls over a private island off the Georgia coast in 1910. By flickering lamplight, a handful of men scribble a secret plan to remake American money. Across the ocean, at that same moment, an emperor paces in his Berlin palace. His trusted banker murmurs advice on how to fund a looming war. Two scenes, worlds apart, bound by one family name. For decades, the Warburg family moved like ghosts through the corridors of global finance. They built systems to keep money stable, yet at times their actions stoked chaos. One brother helped birth the U.S. Federal Reserve behind closed doors. Another brother quietly abetted a revolution that upended an empire. It sounds like fiction, but it's a true saga of money, power, and secrecy. Strap in for a journey spanning Renaissance trade fairs to 20th century battlegrounds. Follow the hidden hand of the Warburgs through the empires they built and the storms they weathered. Our story begins under the glow of Renaissance commerce. In the 1500s, a Jewish merchant family called Del Banco thrived in Venice's marketplaces. Then, Venice's rulers confined the Jewish community to a ghetto, choking their business. The Del Banco family packed their ledgers and left. They crossed the Alps to a small German town called Warburg. There, they took the town's name as their own. A new chapter had begun, far from the great trading hubs. Over generations, the Warburgs drifted north to Hamburg, a rising port city. By 1798, revolutions and Napoleonic wars were roiling Europe. That year, the family opened a modest bank in Hamburg called M.M. Warburg and Company. Hamburg's golden age of trade was underway. The Warburg Bank quietly grew with it. Through the 1800s, Germany boomed with railroads and the steel and ships. Warburg bankers greased the wheels of this growth quietly. They partnered with other great banking houses but never trumpeted their own name. Discretion and intellect were their trademarks. While the Rothschilds grabbed headlines, the Warburgs stayed in the background. They advised and financed deals without fanfare. By 1900, the family had become a true dynasty of finance. They were cultured, multilingual, and connected across Europe and America. The family had split into two branches in Hamburg, but one set of brothers was about to steal the spotlight. 5 brothers came of age with banking in their blood: Aby, Max, Paul, Felix, and Fritz. Each had talent, but 2 brothers, Max and Paul, would cast the longest shadows. One would carry the family vision to America. Another would become the financial brain behind an empire. The stage was set for the Warburgs to step into history's spotlight. In 1907, a terrifying financial panic shook the United States. Banks collapsed, markets plunged. There was no central bank to calm the storm. Paul Warburg saw this chaos and knew it was preventable. Drawing on old world wisdom, he pushed for a solution. In late 1910, he slipped onto a private train with a handful of powerful men. They all traveled under fake names. Their destination? Jekyll Island, a secluded club off the Georgia coast. Behind closed doors by gaslight, they drafted a blueprint for American finance. Paul emerged as the chief architect of a new central bank. It was designed to end the cycle of bank runs and panics. In 1913, the U.S. Federal Reserve was born. Paul Warburg became one of its first guiding hands. Across the Atlantic, Max Warburg was gaining fame as an advisor to the German Kaiser. He warned that money could be as decisive as armies. But in 1914, the world tumbled into World War I. Suddenly, the 2 brothers were on opposite sides of a global conflict. Paul, sitting on the Federal Reserve Board, worked to keep America's economy stable as war raged. Max, in Berlin, helped Germany finance its war effort under blockade and starvation. Both men became indispensable to their nation's war machines. One quietly managed credit and bond sales for the Allies. The other squeezed every last mark to keep Germany in the fight. As the war dragged on, desperation bred intrigue. In 1917, Germany hatched a wild plan to knock Russia out of the war. They sent exiled firebrand Vladimir Lenin back home to ignite rebellion. A sealed train ferried Lenin across Germany and into Russia, armed with German funds. Whispers later swirled that Max Warburg's bank helped channel some of that money. After the war, Allied agents uncovered documents hinting at Warburg's hidden hand. It appeared M.M. Warburg and Company had moved funds to Lenin's Bolsheviks through neutral banks. If true, a capitalist banker had midwifed a communist revolution. It's a jarring paradox. The Warburg name tied to both stabilizing markets and sparking upheaval. Max never spoke of it openly. Whether he did it knowingly or just followed orders, the deed was done. Russia fell to revolution. Germany got its wish as the Eastern Front crumbled. By late 1918, World War I ground to its bitter end. The cost was almost beyond measure. In 1919, Max Warburg joined Germany's delegation at the Versailles Peace Conference. He stood under the gilded ceiling of the Hall of Mirrors as the victors dictated their terms. The banker who once counseled an emperor now watched his nation's humiliation. Max knew the economic punishment was a recipe for disaster. Germany would stagger under impossible debts. Its currency and society would likely buckle. He returned to Berlin determined to stabilize what he could, but the seeds of the next crisis were already sown in that harsh treaty. Timeless lesson. Trust, illusion, and the power of money. Amid all this chaos, one truth stands out. Money is a mass illusion, a game of trust. The Warburgs understood that better than most. They built central banks and financial networks to shore up that trust. But when confidence falters, even the mightiest currency can turn to confetti. After Versailles, Max's dire predictions came true as Germany's mark plunged into hyperinflation. Across the ocean, the roaring 20s boomed. Paul Warburg, almost alone, warned that a crash was coming. In 1929, the illusion of endless prosperity shattered. The Great Depression followed. The lesson echoed loud and clear. Money can empower nations or destroy them, depending on how it's managed. Stability is no accident. It's a fragile illusion upheld only by faith in banks, governments, and paper notes. Lose that faith, and the whole system cracks. The Warburg saga highlights the double-edged nature of financial power. Used wisely, money can build empires. Abused or unchecked, it can bring empires to their knees. Through it all, the family preached discretion and expertise. They knew real influence often means working quietly in the shadows, nudging levers without fanfare. In a world of booms and busts, their credo was clear. Use knowledge and calm counsel to guide the money machine, lest it run off the rails. The Warburg legacy did not end with World War II. Cast out of Nazi Germany, the family reinvented itself abroad. Max's son Eric Warburg founded an investment firm in New York, Warburg Pincus, which grew into a global financial player. A cousin, Sigmund Warburg, built an influential merchant bank in London. The family name lived on at the highest levels of finance. More importantly, the system Paul Warburg championed, central banking, became the backbone of the world economy. The Federal Reserve that Paul helped design still underpins America's financial might. Its example spread around the globe. Today, nearly every nation has a central bank standing vigil, a lender of last resort ready to conjure stability in crisis. In the 21st century, central bankers are heirs to Warburg's vision. When the world economy shuddered in 2008, the Fed unleashed trillions of dollars to stop a collapse. It was exactly the kind of lifeline Paul Warburg had imagined a century ago. Crisis after crisis, from the dot-com bust to a pandemic crash, has been met with the same playbook. Create money, cut interest rates, shore up confidence. Yet the fragility remains. Markets still swing from euphoria to panic, now on a global scale. We live in a world awash in debt and easy money. It's a financial system propped up by collective faith in central banks. Some call it a necessary safeguard, others a grand monetary illusion. The ghost of 1929 is never far away. Every bailout and bubble reminds us we're still dancing on the edge of chaos. In this sense, the Warburg legacy is alive whenever a central banker calms a panic or slashes interest rates to steady the ship. Their ideas form the architecture of modern finance, for better or worse. It's a delicate machine of prosperity, forever shadowed by the risk of collapse. There's a telling contrast in the Warburg saga. The men who screamed for power and glory often fell the hardest. Emperors and dictators rattled sabers, printed money recklessly, or scapegoated minorities. They led their nations to ruin. Kaiser Wilhelm ignored Max Warburg's cautious counsel. He plunged into a war that cost him his throne. Adolf Hitler drove out the Warburgs in a fanatical fury. His thousand-year Reich collapsed in just 12 years. In finance, too, the loudest speculators of the 1920s bragged until everything imploded in 1929. Those who failed loudly left wreckage in their wake. Meanwhile, the Warburg approach was the opposite. Quiet, measured, patient. They built institutions meant to last. They preferred influence to fame, stability to frenzy. When storms came, they bent but didn't break. The family was forced to flee Germany, yet they landed on their feet. They continued to contribute from new shores. This moral arc underscores a timeless point. Real power often whispers. The visionary working behind the curtain may shape history more than the demagogue on the balcony. The Warburgs' resilience and prudence outlived the chaos makers. In a world tempted by easy glory and quick fixes, their story stands as a testament to foresight, discretion, and endurance. As our tale ends, one question hangs in the air. How much influence can a single family really wield over the course of history? The Warburgs were never all-powerful puppet masters, yet at critical moments, their touch was unmistakable. Without Paul Warburg, America's central bank might not exist in its current form. Without Max Warburg, Germany's war finances, and even the fate of Russia's revolution, might have unfolded differently. They nudged the levers of fate, even if they did not control them outright. In the grand sweep of events, the Warburgs showed that ideas and expertise can quietly shape the world. They remind us that those who understand money's mysteries can steer the destinies of nations, but only up to a point. Even they were buffeted by wars and regimes beyond their control. In the end, their legacy is a blend of achievement and enigma. So, can one family steer history, or are they simply carried by history's currents? The Warburg story offers tantalizing evidence of both. It leaves us with a final, haunting image. A quiet banker stands in the shadows of a great hall, watching kings and presidents come and go. He knows the secret. Money makes empires rise and fall. The lights dim, the scene fades, but the question remains. It's a question for us to ponder long after the story ends. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, it would mean the world to us if you like the video or subscribe to our channel. We truly believe that understanding the past is key to navigating the future, and by studying financial history, you are better prepared to safeguard your wealth than 99% of the people out there. If you have any questions or remarks, or would like to request a video topic for our next deep dive, please leave a comment down below. We aim to reply to all of them. Until next time.